Suffering from a severe form of altitude sickness, oxygen starvation is causing blood vessels to leak fluid into Lincoln's brain.
I couldn't live in this oxygen-starved environment for very long at all.
If he doesn't get up and get down the mountain fast, he'll die. After reaching the summit of Mount Everest, Australian climber Lincoln Hall has fallen unconscious at an altitude known as the death zone.
I just don't know what happened. I passed out in the snow.
Okay. To base camp.
Dorsha, this is Mike from base camp, over.
Lincoln is down.
He's barely breathing.
At base camp, Lincoln's friend Mike Dillon knows this is desperate news. Lincoln is suffering from severe altitude sickness, or cerebral edema.
We started to be very worried because when you get cerebral edema at that height, it's very unlikely that you'll live.
Pressure is being put onto your brain. There's nowhere for that pressure to go, so it makes you go delirious and you die.
Is he talking? Is he making any sense? Over.
Negative.
Cerebral edema can kill people instantly, but we knew that sometimes it can take a little while.
Close to the summit of Mount Everest, it's impossible to bring Lincoln down.
No one has the physical strength to carry anyone down from that height.
Lincoln.
Helicopters can rescue you from ships, from being lost in the bush. You can be rescued from the water, but you can't be rescued from the summit of Mount Everest.
Over decades, more than 200 people have been left for dead near the summit of Everest, including 10 climbers just weeks before.
Suddenly, I was back
Lincoln.
in a sort of, I wouldn't say lucid state,
Breathe.
but I actually realized where I was. I was on Mount Everest.
He's getting up now. He's getting up.
Good work, Dorsha.
I was lucid enough to realize that I really had to get down as quickly as I could.
But the fluid causing pressure on his brain is now leading to a dangerous loss of physical control.
I was going incredibly slowly. I could hardly walk. I was just so weak. Everything was difficult. I would tell my legs to move and they wouldn't, and I'd force them to move, and I'd take the other leg and do the same thing. It was my mind that was driving me forward.
Somehow, Lincoln manages to make it back to Everest's second step. But this means rappelling down a sheer rock face at 28,000 feet above sea level.
That's the dangerous place. It's a make or break it point, and often it's a place where people die.
And Lincoln's mental state is getting worse.
I was in a trance. I was just incredibly confused.
Another Sherpa is at the second step.
And I wondered what he was doing there.
A climber that he was guiding to the summit has died just below them. Already confused, the news pushes Lincoln over the edge.
It was such a shock that I fell to pieces. It was me battling the Sherpas. I was really on the very edge. It's an 11,000-foot drop. That's where I wanted to jump.
Near the summit of Mount Everest, Lincoln Hall has lost control of his mind. He's about to throw himself off a cliff at 28,000 feet.
I was trying to jump off the face. I had gone delirious.
The Sherpas just managed to pull him away from certain death.
Torsia to base camp. Do you read me? Over.
His guide radios Lincoln's close friend Mike Dillon at base camp for help.
Put the radio to Lincoln's ear. I want to talk to him. Okay, Lincoln, mate, it's Mike.
Can you hear me? It's Mike.
We were his friends. We spoke his language. Even though his mind was obviously irrational, we thought that we might be able to help.
Lincoln, you got to get up.
Mike is Lincoln's only hope. The Sherpas can't carry him down, but staying with Lincoln at this altitude could kill them too. If Lincoln doesn't get up, he'll be left to die.
Mike, hear me? Get up, get up.
Come on, mate, get up.
Suddenly I could hear an English voice,
You have to keep going, all right?
but it was Michael Dillon begging me to come down.
Lincoln, listen
To me. Come on, Lincoln.
Lincoln, you have to help the Sherpas.
To help you. Get up, mate. Come on, get up.
And that managed to get through to me, and suddenly
We're coming down.
I was back.
He's getting up now. He's getting up.
But now Lincoln must rappel down the treacherous second step, and this time he's on his own.
And I needed to descend that using a rope, and there was a ladder. I started going down the rope.
Lincoln!
I managed to get halfway down. And then I started hearing voices. And suddenly, I became incredibly frightened. I just panicked. I was just incredibly scared. My immediate thought was that I'm going to die.
Lincoln loses consciousness again, suspended at 28,000 feet.
And then
Lincoln, listen to me. Lincoln, listen to me. Your mind is not
Hey Dylan, happy birthday, mate.
I was hallucinating.
Change your ways, change your ways.
There was sort of a silence. But suddenly, everything was wonderful. This amazing view. I forgot about everything else. I just started to feel this joy at this wonderful mountain scene with the warm colours of a late afternoon on the snow. When I realised where I was,
I'm here. We must go down.
pulsing with adrenaline, I rappelled down.
Against the odds, Lincoln makes it down.
And I just felt incredibly relieved.
Go!
The Sherpas took advantage of the fact that suddenly I was re-energized, and they kept at me.
Move! Move!
They just kept telling me to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving.
But vital time has been lost. And at this altitude, every second counts.
We knew that they'd run out of oxygen by now. We knew that meant all the effort of trying to get Lincoln to come down was exhausting everyone. It was probably the key factor that was going to kill Lincoln.
As the Sherpas desperately tried to push Lincoln on, disaster strikes again.
I collapsed in exhaustion. I just had no energy. And I was able to move no further. I was actually felt quite pleased to lie there.